Hey, lad, I'm just starting the podcast here. Bring you after.
Mick,
Where do you think Arsenal's going to finish in the season? In the Premier League, good start that. Hello everyone, welcome back to another podcast at PSA. We've gathered the team together here to talk about the season ahead. Even though we're a weekend behind, we still thought we'd get together and we'll chat about who we think is going to finish in the top 6, who's going to get relegated, who we think is going to be the first manager sacked, top goal scorer, things like that. Just a wee bit of crack, bit of fun. So let's kick it off.
Top 6?
Top 6.
Start at 6 and go to 1.
Is this
Arsenal fans are going to be involved so much.
Is this alphabetical? We should have done this last week when Arsenal were at the top. Arsenal.
So top 6, who do you have in 6th place?
Spurs.
Spurs are not in my top 6. They're not making the top 6 for me.
Just be honest, I don't have the top 6 done.
I figured.
I do just look at my phone here. Yeah.
You're like Arsenal.
I can name you 6 teams that'll be in the top 6, but I can't give you the order.
Right, okay. Well, should you think about it for a second? Who's your 6th place?
Well, I think probably Leicester.
Leicester.
I don't think they'll have a season as what they've been having. I think they may fall away. I don't think they've invested enough. The loss Wolfen or Fofana, they haven't really replaced him. So I think they're going to have a wee bit of a topsy-turvy season.
I'm not so sure. I think they might do okay.
They're probably Matthew's top 4.
Are they?
They're actually not.
Oh.
I wouldn't even put Leicester in top 6.
Would you not? Leicester is in my top 6. But my 6th place is Aston Villa.
Nah, they not. I don't think they. I think Aston Villa were.
They got rid of Grealish, yeah, but they made some good signings there. I think Bunty is unbelievable. I think he's mint and he's got a great job. If I'm right, I'll look like a genius. If I'm wrong, like he picked Aston Villa. Like what do you expect? I don't know. I think Aston Villa could be the dark horse this season. The Leicester of a few seasons ago.
Funny enough, I was thinking kind of going for Villa myself, but I just don't think. Not that I don't think Villa are good enough. I think the teams that are in and around it are better than Villa. Yeah. So that's just why I didn't go with Villa.
Could you say realistically, for 5th and 6th place, we're talking about Spurs, Villa, Leicester,
Everton.
Just to keep him happy, Arsenal.
Oh no! Is this the top 6 or the bottom 6?
The big 6 still includes Arsenal, so you have to talk about them.
Brentford.
Where do you think Arsenal's going to finish?
Be lucky, top 10.
I think that's fair. Like if I did a full 20.
Once we get to
Think
40
we're going
points,
to-
I am finished with the Premier League. Cause at least we're in it for another year.
I worry for Arsenal this year, especially after the display on Friday night. There was nothing from an outsider. There was nothing I seen positive on Friday night at all.
Do you think bringing Aubameyang and Lacazette back in makes a big difference?
Well, I think Aubameyang wants to go. He's
talking him to Barcelona.
Barcelona, yeah. So I
don't know
fear
why Barcelona want him.
for Arsenal. What 2 signings there now?
Ramsdale and
Ramsdale.
Odegaard.
Not confirmed yet, but
I hope they're not confirmed.
Would you not take Odegaard?
No.
No?
I didn't think he's done much for Arsenal last year.
Yeah,
I was still like I didn't think he
Didn't get any numbers, sure didn't.
I thought Pep was better than him. Do you know what sort of way?
That's saying something.
Yeah, he was 70
know
when
the
he
way that is.
No, I think I honestly think it'll be Arsenal need to click. They need to do something. There needs to be someone to come in there, but I don't think they've signed anybody to do that. Like if you look at Chelsea signing Lukaku and stuff, Arsenal haven't. There's no big name coming in there to sort of wow anybody.
You can't really attract
Is that
big
because nobody
names
wants to go there
anymore, so
Yeah.
you can't.
But it's funny. Like,
Arsenal are probably where United were just after Fergie left.
I think they're worse.
Probably
I think they're worse. There's you can still. This is funny now for Arsenal. You can still buy a Chelsea ticket for the weekend. Like for such a big club,
Seriously?
yeah, you can still go online and buy a Chelsea ticket. So it goes to show you that they might not. Why Arsenal is always full is because of tourism in London. It's not because of
fans that are travelling to the Emirates. Like, so there's needs something needs change. Like, I don't know what will change it. But back to the top 6.
In 5th place, I went with Leicester.
I've got Leicester in 5th.
I agree with Gregory to a certain extent that, along with Europa League this year, I think it caught up on them last year, and they haven't really, you would need maybe 2 or 3 extra bodies in, along with the squad they had last year, but they just haven't. Well, there's time yet in the window, but they just haven't got the squad, I don't think, to cope with this Thursday Sunday thing.
I think it'll actually kill them the Thursday Sunday, because you're always catch up.
But I still think they're a fantastic team, and they're excellently coached and very well managed.
Yeah.
I think that's what will give them the edge to maybe. I think they'll threaten top 4 for like the same what they did last year. Threaten top 4 for 3/4 of the season.
And
Well, I think they should have. I think they should have comfortably had top 4 last year.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope they get into the top 4 ahead of the likes of Liverpool and that. But I think they'll probably fade away the back end of the season.
After beating City in the Community Shield, winning the FA Cup last year, does that spur them on a wee bit, or do they just don't have the personnel?
I think a team like Leicester, if they win a trophy, I think expectations go through the roof all of a sudden.
Yeah.
If Leicester can maintain top 5 finish for 3 seasons in a row and win the FA Cup,
There's talk,
they're doing pretty well.
Is there not also talks of, is it Madison going to Arsenal, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't see it. Why would they? No, why would they? Right
I don't
now?
know, but that was
Especially if they're bringing in Odegaard.
We're going to come back to Arsenal as probably every team here.
Yeah,
But, like,
once if Leicester do lose James Madison, who is
like him
extremely
and Vardy
influential,
are big players
Partnership.
not there.
Yeah.
That's what
Madison's injured again for this week.
I will probably sign for Arsenal then. Cert,
Yeah.
probably out for
need
the
to get him
season.
out. Need to get him out of the fantasy football team then.
He
So
doesn't
they-
have injury problems with it. Like,
What about yourselves? What about your 5th place was Leicester?
as well.
Gregory.
I actually think Everton. I think Benitez is going to have a decent season there. Like, Benitez was done pretty well with a pretty average Liverpool side. He had 1 or 2 marquee players, but everything else around that wasn't great.
Do you think the current Everton squad is stronger than the Liverpool squad that he won the Champions League with?
No, I wouldn't say that, but I would say he's got a good enough squad there to challenge for Europe.
I wouldn't say it's not a million miles away from that.
No.
Neither would I.
I don't.
I don't. It just doesn't have the likes of who was in that Liverpool team, like Alonso or
Yeah.
Gerrard. I don't think he's that caliber of players in that squad. It's got a decent wee squad there. Like,
I think Everton's problem this year is going to be off the pitch. It's going to be the politics behind Rafa being the manager. Like, if he wears a red tie to a press conference, it's going to kick off.
well, he'll not be able to do that. Like.
Well, he's got off to a good start with a home win in day 1, so
Tie round the head, Joe Brett.
It's actually
Sitting in the Anfield watching the game, not scouting.
I actually secretly want him to do well because it will niggle away at all the Scousers. Like, it will pain them to see him finish anywhere close to top 6.
If he can do any job at all there, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
4th place I went with Liverpool.
Me too.
so,
What do you think? Fair enough.
It is going to be very interesting.
I think this is the tightest it's
Yeah.
been in a very, very long time, if not ever.
I think it will. I think your big matches will count. Your big games will count this year. Will
Top 4 against each other.
yeah. I think they'll count. You'll also be hoping for teams to take points off each other, like the likes of Spurs. Like, really and truthfully, could you have seen Spurs taking points off City? A lot of people say yes. I was asking a few, but because of the whole Kane scenario, that Spurs would have been up for it more than City. I think it's funny. I think Aguero's going to be a big miss for City, and people know, like, even an old player.
Unless they sign Kane.
But well, are they going to sign Kane? It's sort of like drawn out now. This could go on. Like, if Kane's not, he's not in the squad for tomorrow night.
Yeah.
He's hardly trained.
Probably not play
So
at the
what's-
weekend.
Is it going to take? This is going to go to maybe the end of September before. I know if he signs, that's fine. But when's he going to be fit? Like, they're going to maybe be 5 games into the season. If City drop any more points, and United and the other ones keep, like, you get 6 points behind someone or 7 points,
Chasing them
starts
all
to be a
the
wee
time.
gap there, and then Champions League and a couple of wee niggles. So it'll be interesting. So, well, I don't know. Honestly, I couldn't predict what way the 4 will go this year.
Who's your 4th place, Gregor?
4th place, I actually didn't.
You said Liverpool, yeah.
Well, we all went to Liverpool, so we're all in agreement that.
Yeah.
And why do we think Liverpool?
I think it's an aging Salah, Mane, Firmino. Jota is gonna be a good replacement for Firmino, but
I think we'll Van Dijk back this year, but they're going to be fair.
I honestly think they could win the league. Like, you know, any of the top four could win it. But I just
I think
probably it's the United fan in me a wee bit as well. But
Yeah.
you know,
but I think that Liverpool need to strengthen their midfield if they're gonna do it.
I think they've enough. I think the biggest fear with Liverpool is their firepower. Like, no, they can score. They can win games now comfortably.
Yeah.
But with Van Dijk back, they can share games up at the back, and that's the. I know if they were playing Arsenal, that'd be the worrying thing for me. Van Dijk gives it such a, a strength and depth. He's also what he scored the season before that. He scored big goals like from set pieces. So they're all around they're good, but I know what you mean. If Salah and a few of them gets injured, their bench is not as good as some the others.
For some reason they're the only team in the top four that can't go out and spend 100 million. You know, I can never understand that. Like, why? I know that the four players signed long-term contracts, which is really good business, but they're like Lukaku to Chelsea, Grealish to City, the two Boyos to United. Like, Liverpool have never really in the last couple of seasons, bar the Van Dijk and Alisson, have went out and really.
I think that's just their American owners don't like spending money.
I can't understand. I think that's what will hold them back long term is the strength and depth of their squad. If they do get an injury or two, they're going to be in the same scenario as they were last year.
If they don't sign anybody between this summer and next summer, I think this will be their last season with that squad to challenge for the title.
I could see Lukaku going to Liverpool, but no, Lukaku wants to go somewhere now where he's going to start.
Yeah.
So it's really only probably Chelsea, Arsenal, and Spurs. Like, he's not going to walk into Liverpool.
I was only using a Lukaku as an example,
but
but I do agree with you. Plus, he's not really the kind of centre forward that Klopp likes. He's totally different to Firmino. Like,
it's hard to know who they would sign, to make them a lot better.
That's true too.
That's available.
Everybody's going to be Mbappe for a while, but there's no if they're buying Ben Davis at $2 million in January, they're not going to be able to afford Mbappe in the summer. Like.
Yeah.
That was some bad. It wasn't worth much, but it was some bad transfer work there. Like, he's away guy. Yeah, never played a game. I don't think.
Never kicked the ball.
Yeah.
But
that's
the way it goes. Into the top three. My third place team with heavy heart is Manchester United.
What?
Yeah.
I think he's going to finish above City this year.
I have City in third.
I have City in third.
Why have you have City in third?
Like, they've bought Jack Grealish for 100 million. How much does that strengthen that team? Not that much, I don't think. Like,
They walked the league last year.
and I think,
Who's going to score the goals?
yeah, like they've got Gabriel Jesus up there. He's the only one.
Going to sign Kane.
Like, if they sign Kane, different story.
Yeah.
But without Kane,
I think
Chelsea is.
I think Chelsea has the best squad out of everyone. But whether they can,
as you say, I think City's season is going to be on if they sign Kane.
Yeah, I think so too.
Don't get me wrong. You can only play the ball to so many people, or you can get assists. But I don't think Gabriel Jesus is going to score the goals for City to win the league.
and like City walked it for by the what?
They walked the league last year. Like, Aguero didn't kick a lot of ball for them. Like, you know, and
Sterling.
they still have the best manager in the world.
Yeah,
They
but
still have the best squad in the Premier League, in my opinion.
It's harder to retain a league title than when you win a title in one. It's harder to retain it because all the pressure's on them now. I know they have this
Hopefully you're right. It's Arsenal haven't won it in years.
I won't win it for you.
They have this massive squad and everybody talks about it, but like, yes, I watched them on Sunday and I was not going, jeepers, they're going to blow us away. I know it's their first game and probably a lot of players coming back from their Euros and that, but like,
I didn't
really
see it.
bother Spurs.
I seen the first half and bar the first 15 minutes, but they started well.
yeah,
But after, when Spurs got a foothold in the game, they didn't really, break any delve. Like.
And Spurs isn't a team that's scaring me really. Like,
Yeah, that's where I'm basing it on because I watched them on Sunday. They didn't play that well, and Spurs haven't featured my top
Their
seven.
boy's good, but their new manager's good.
no.
I think I would have took him at Arsenal. I think he's really clued in. Like, he's a really good coach. He's just not a manager. He's a very, very good coach. Maybe at Spurs he could be. You never know.
He could be the one.
No, at Wolves he's probably got just a wee bit more class now. At Wolves he had players that were working for him. Like I went to watch them versus Arsenal and just never stopped. No, just always on you.
He's got a bit
He's
more quality.
He has that pressing game. You never know. Like you just don't know. No, new manager, new face. Everybody's got a clean slate, sort of. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, but like I just don't see. I think City has stayed still, and other clubs have improved drastically. I just like Jack Grealish, obviously for 100 million is an unbelievable signing. Don't know if I would have spent 100 million on him, but
his release clause was 100 million, so you would have had to spend 100 million to get him
I
out.
suppose in this day's market, 100 million doesn't really. What's 100 million to City?
Well, spend 100 million on Grealish, a player that couldn't feature or couldn't get a starting place in the England team
In the Euro squad.
in the Euros. I think it's a wee bit over. He maybe is worth 100 million.
It was his release clause was 100 million, so it wouldn't matter what the market was. If you wanted Jack Grealish this summer, you would have to pay 100 million for him. So.
Fair. But I just don't think like they've got 5-6 unbelievable attacking midfielders there, forwards. Like you take Grealish out and you put whoever you want in, does it really change the squad? You put Grealish in, does it really change the squad? Not really. They're a bit samey, I think. But they I don't know. I would maybe still say they're probably odds-on favourites. They're probably bookies' favourites, but I think they'll finish third. That's how tight it is up top.
So who's your number 2?
Well, my 2 and 1 is City second and Chelsea first.
I've got Chelsea second, United first. There's definitely a wee bit of bias there, but like you can't go into the season and not think your club's gonna win, apart from an Arsenal fan.
What have you got, Greg?
Well, being a realistic United fan, I think they'll finish second. I don't think they have that midfielder yet to be a title one side. I think they're one, maybe 2 players short of a really good side.
And you've got Chelsea finishing top.
Chelsea finishing top, just purely based on Lukaku signing, because I think he's going to score. He might not do it in the big games, but I think between him, he might actually bring Warner on, and you might give Warner that boost, because playing up front all last year on his own, I think it was tough on him.
Well, even though I was kind of batting for City there for a few minutes, I agree with the missing piece of Chelsea jigsaw last year was a centre forward, and Tuchel was unbelievable for only being there for half a season. They'd clean sheets, they'd winning games comfortably, but they were still just missing that, number 9, as you could say.
Are they missing anything at the back?
I think they've got the complete squad.
Yeah, I think so.
I think there's a wee bit of weakness at the back.
We'll give you the odds then for who they think.
Oh, bookies' favourites?
Yeah.
City, probably.
City,
Chelsea, United. No?
City, Chelsea, Liverpool, United,
Really?
Spurs, Leicester, Arsenal.
I can't see Chelsea winning it by double figures. I think there'll be 4, maybe 6 points in it.
I say there's at most 6 points in the league this year.
It's that close at the top. Like the top 6 there, well, maybe 6th and 5th, maybe not. But you've also, I haven't put Spurs in there for some reason, is I think they're going to have struggle with Nuno this year. But like top 4, there's
It could be any order, couldn't it?
I think with fans being back in, if they're allowed to stay back in, is going to make a massive difference than playing in empty stadiums.
Well, every stadium across, or every game that was live with the full stadium, it made some difference.
Yeah, like everyone was bouncing. Look at the Brentford game after it. Well, they've 17,000 in it. Remind you a bit of Windsor Park, no Orange.
Yeah. You would have thought they won the World Cup.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that gives them some lift. Do you know what sort of way? It gives them you don't want to go there.
I think a full Old Trafford give United a big boost. Plus bringing Whelan Varane out just before kick-off. Give them a big...
Plus chasing Leeds fans around the stadium trying to kill them.
Firing chairs at them before I give them a big lift.
I give them a lift. No, the team bus went past, 3 guys were hammering each other outside Costa. No.
I'll probably get you going in before match. Do it for the fans, boys. Yeah, I think the signing of Lukaku, if City sign Kane, of course, that's going to be the big thing. But at the minute, the way we set 1 weekend in, 3 days before the second game week, I think the signing of Lukaku has just, in my opinion, tipped it towards Chelsea, because they were so good last year, but just missing that
Killer instinct.
You see it in Europe.
Number 9.
You've seen it in Europe. What they could do. I think they were too far gone for Donald Tuchel to do anything in the league. But you see it in Europe what they're capable of.
Yeah.
And do you think if Spurs keep Kane, could they challenge for top 4?
No, because Kane does not want to be there. I know
That's still a good shout. Like he's contracted for 3 years. Like if Spurs say he's not going, he's not going.
Everybody says he's this perfect professional, but like if you don't want to be somewhere, are you going to put 100%
It
in?
was terrible in the Euros.
Until he scored.
But like who was he? No, I mean he wasn't. Like if he didn't score that game, he was never scoring.
Yeah.
No, so the first game he never even shot on target. The second game did he have a shot on target?
Yeah, he definitely had a bad Euros.
No, wherever Kane ends up is a big swinger in either direction.
I say if he goes to City win the league.
Yeah.
If he goes to Spurs, I'd put Spurs up to 5th.
And I would also drop City's chances of winning.
Because if Son gets injured for Spurs now, then they've no one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Used to be he would have played up top on his own if Kane was injured.
There's no word of Bale going back to Spurs, is he?
No, he played for Real Madrid in the first league game.
And Dolly's a big fan of him. Fair.
So I think we're near enough matched, isn't it? Somewhere, and the same kind of teams, haven't we, in them positions? Alright, so we'll move on now to teams we think are going to be relegated. Not a nice subject.
My 3 are, well, first of all, the 3 teams who came up were Brentford, Watford, Norwich.
Yeah.
I've got Norwich to go back down, Southampton to go down, and Burnley to go down.
Any reason? Any particular reason?
I think Southampton losing Danny Ings, possibly losing Ward Prowse.
Where's he going?
Was he linked with Arsenal?
He was linked with
He was linked with Villa.
wasn't
And
I
the
don't think he moved.
Vestergaard going. I think he's a quality centre back. Losing him, not bringing anybody in. Hasenhüttl is, I think, is questionable.
Yeah, he features in my later on.
Mine too. He's who's going to beat them 9-0 this year? 2 years in a row they got beaten 9-0 and he's still there. That's interesting. Like I just don't see them having. They've taken 2 other best players out, not replaced them, and they were struggling last year. I think, especially towards the last of the season. Don't have a big squad either. Burnley, I think Burnley have been sort of teetering on the edge, like just up above them. I would have like the likes of Newcastle and Watford. I think Joe Willock's a big signing for Newcastle, and if they can keep Callum Wilson fit, and if they can keep St Maximin at the club, if they can keep them at the club, I think they have enough firepower to stay above Burnley.
They'll be like the worst of a bad lot.
To be the position 17, pretty much. But I don't think Burnley have it. And then Norwich, I didn't see anything in that Liverpool game to prove.
Although Liverpool is a tough opening fixture,
it is a tough opening fixture. But then they've got Pukki, who has proved before that he's not good enough for the Premiership. And the rest of the team, the only who else is there? Cantwell. He's a quality player, but is he? He's maybe a mid-table player. Who's in the squad that you would take at any other club, really? I just don't see it for them.
Go ahead, Gregor.
Norwich, I definitely think they're going down. They're not. James Ryan thinks not good enough squad. I think Brighton, and I also think I was going to go Burnley, but somehow they always manage to turn around. And so Norwich, Brighton and Wolves.
That's interesting. With Jimenez back,
Curveball. Why do you think Wolves?
Season squad, they might lose Neves in this winter.
I'd love them to lose Neves to us.
Who are you going to?
Hopefully United.
I think he'd go there in the winter time, possibly, but not. You never know. A couple of weeks left, he might. But I don't see anything to impress me with Wolves this year. I think the team's just slightly above them. Might just knock them down.
Fair.
Well, I'm quite close with that. I've Norwich, Brighton, and I've also got Brentford thrown in.
I'm
glad no one meant to know.
I was going to say Arsenal. I was going to say Arsenal for a laugh, but
safe.
I see him.
Arsenal for a laugh.
stay
Is
up.
it a laugh, really?
I know. Norwich, obviously, just don't think they're good enough, and they have become a bit of a yo-yo team, like up for season, down for season, up for season. Brighton are all very pretty on the eye, and they might get a result here and there, but I just don't think their squad is. I don't think they have the quality, basically, the firepower.
Not in their first game.
They did, but
And beat Villa too, didn't
you know they have been kind of flirting with it this past couple. You know they only got out of it
they?
3 games.
I think you're about as a Potter, right?
Yeah.
He's
I think they got big points in their last 4 or 5 games last year, which saved them.
Like, I don't know how much you read into this or not, but last year they would have, with expected goals, if they had finished their chances, they could have been up top end of the table, maybe 7th. But at the same time, they haven't signed a new striker to do that.
Finish their chances, but and Brentford, because just obviously there's a big, you know, they're very they're on a high because they beat Arsenal the weekend and stuff. But I think long term, the Premiership would be, you know, too much for them, especially coming up via the playoffs. There's not too many teams that stay up. You know, Fulham were up last year in the playoffs and down again. I just don't think Brentford.
I think that'll be probably one of the hardest grounds to go to. They're on top of you.
I think so.
It could be, but I think long term, I think the Premiership as a whole will be too much for them this season.
Do you think Ivan Toney's gonna, like, he obviously tore it up last year? Do you think he's gonna be able to score 15 goals this season? 10.
Yeah, because you need a goal scorer to keep you in the league. So you do.
I think just because the way they were playing, well, I've only seen them first game, but the way they've been playing and that high press, like, teams are going to find it so hard to get out of that. Maybe the top 4, top 6 sides will be able to, but like,
I think they're going to take points off top 6 sides.
I think they have to win their games that they're the ones around them. If they take points off the top sides but don't win their games around their bottom half of the table, they'll struggle.
First night of the season, opening the Premier League, full house. No disrespect, but it was only Arsenal that were in town. You know, there were
the Arsenal.
You know, it was a typical game that Arsenal were going to lose, and I think people are getting maybe a wee bit, you know, carried away. I just think long term in the Premiership, over 38 games, I don't think they'll get enough points to stay up.
I think they're a better team from what I know of them. I don't watch an awful lot of Championship football, but from what I know of them, what I have seen of them, I think they're a better team than that Norwich team at the minute as it sits. I think they're probably better than that Burnley team, that really aging Burnley team. But
Burnley have got the know-how. Like
Sean Dyche just
just gets, you know,
but like
big physical turf moor's a hard place to go to. You know, they just survive. That's what they're built for. They're
guaranteed to get 6 points off Arsenal. Like, there we go. Honestly,
who isn't?
They're just built to survive the Premier League. Like, if they finish a point or a goal ahead of the bottom 3, done that. They're not built for challenging top 10 or anything like. They're just built to survive in the Premier League.
The battle for relegation is nearly as tight as the one at the top. Because like I'd never mentioned Southampton, Newcastle, like
Watford. Watford's just up. What do you think of them? I think everyone likes Watford because Ben Foster plays for them. Really.
Shout out to Cycling GK.
Yeah, come on the podcast.
And Crystal Palace as well. You seen what happened the last time they tried to change their whole style with De Boer. He lasted 8 games or something, and then I hope Vieira can be successful because I like him. I like the way he speaks and stuff. He sounds good, but sure, so does Arteta, and so does other managers, and they can't really, you know, do it. But I hope they do well. But
Hodgson wasn't amazing, but he ran a steady ship.
Same again. You were guaranteed mid-table with him, no matter what.
Eze's out injured long term too.
So they can, you know, it's very exciting. Like it is. I can't wait just to get really, you know, stuck into it.
Then you have your Wolves. So like really, there's like 8-9 teams that could all be in the relegation battle.
And we've named 6 or 7 teams that could possibly finish in the top 4. So it's definitely tight.
Who do you think is getting relegated?
That's alright.
No. Who do you think is going to finish above or below Arsenal?
I was going to say the only one, Norwich and Southampton, but I had Crystal Palace. I think Vieira's out of his depth.
You think so?
Needs to come back and play midfield for Arsenal.
You get Vieira back, we get Keane back.
Yeah, come on. Oh yeah, big crack. Yeah.
That'll be good.
Kill each other.
I think Vieira should bring Keane in as his assistant manager.
12 Domino's pizzas ordered at half time, just kill each other in the tunnel. See, the battle of the fist. Vieira comes out with 2 slices of pepperoni.
So we'll go now to something a bit more, positive. Top goal scorer for the season.
Lukaku. Again, I said it earlier, he'll not probably score or play well against bigger teams, top 4.
Alright.
It depends on when Harry Kane comes back and who he's playing for.
No, I don't think it does.
Do you think it's definitely not him?
No.
Salah's always up and about there.
I have Salah
I
as
think
my
it
top
might
goal
be
scorer.
Salah.
One reason, because he was so close to winning it last year. What was there, a goal in it?
1 goal in it.
Yeah.
And did he miss it? He missed a good couple of months.
And I watched part of the game on Saturday and he looked electric. And he's just got that, that grit about him.
I think Fernandes.
What about Bruno? Yeah.
I honestly
He's
do.
already got 4 on the, or 3 on the.
He takes United will get me 20 penalties, so there's 20 goals. So there's him in 23.
Here, we'll take every one of them too.
6 against Arsenal.
Yeah, and that's before VAR's clicked in.
Well, like,
He takes all their penalties, right? You've seen what he was like against Leeds. So against the bottom teams, he's near guarantees himself 1 or 2. If he doesn't get 1 or 2, there's something badly wrong. So he's sitting in 3 at the minute. By Christmas he'll be about 15. That'll be all penalties. And then, honestly, I can see him at least 30 plus.
I would take it. I would take it.
it.
He never actually came into my. I never actually thought, but I was torn between Salah, Kane, Lukaku, or Son.
Really?
Yeah,
I
didn't even think of Fernandes.
I think it's Bruno, Salah, Kane. I don't think Lukaku's in it. I think they're going to spread the goals.
I don't know. I think they're going to use him.
Yeah, he is brought in to get. He is brought in to do what Kane does for Spurs.
I know he's the big target man, but they're going to have to keep Werner happy too.
Yeah, but he's the
He's
one that's
never
going to
mentioned an R
stand
player
up.
there. I think he'll have a big chance.
Lukaku's going to be the one stand up back
Ben
and
White.
goal against the Italians.
Own goals, maybe.
Did I say that seriously?
I thought you were going to say Saka or Lacazette.
But yeah, again, you could toss up 4 or 5. Like the attacking positions in the Premier League are unbelievable. Like,
I'll nail on Bruno. I go with Bruno.
I just think because he does take all the penalties.
Yeah.
I mean, Mr. Cavani.
Salah takes Liverpool's penalties and
Yeah.
Keane takes Tottenham's
Yeah,
penalties.
but sometimes Liverpool change about.
Yeah.
No,
I don't think Cavani's got to play the.
No, I don't think it'll be.
No, not.
Fernandes.
I don't think it'll be Martial, Rashford, Cavani, Greenwood. I don't think they'll feature in it.
If Bruno's on the pitch, he
United-
takes a penalty. That's it.
United are the team that spread the goals. Rashford will get 9, maybe double figures. Martial maybe get in around the same. Hopefully Sancho will get. Greenwood will get. Cavani they'll all get that between 8 and 15. Like,
Yeah.
If Solskjaer actually stuck to his guns and goes, right, Greenwood, you're going to be number 9, Cavani's going to support you. That's it, like, that young fella has talent finishing. He can score with both feet. Like, you've seen the pace he beat. Who was it? Who's the Leeds defender against him?
Probably Stuart Dallas.
No.
I know.
He got
He's a
his,
midfielder
he
now.
got an assist there on Saturday.
So I
Spent
think
the rest of the time picking the ball out of the net.
Nah, he was off. Took him off. Rest him for the big
think
games.
there's 3 or 4 that can be kind of up for that slot, can't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
So what about first manager sacked?
Richard, who do you think?
I think it'll be either Arteta or Vieira.
Fair.
I've got Steve Bruce or Hassan Hüttel.
I don't think Steve Bruce gets sacked because I don't think Mike actually wants to spend the money and bring a new manager in.
No, I think actually I watched that Newcastle game. I actually thought it was a really entertaining game. I think if Newcastle can sort it out at the back, they're going to score goals going forward.
I think they had that. He got that much. Even since the day he came into the job, he has got that much stick.
Well, the fans are
From his own
I
fans.
think they're actually behind him now. I actually do think because since he done all right last season.
I think some of them are. I think
When they don't play great football, and they're probably going to finish 16th,
I'd be happy.
17th. I think they'll be in. And they got beat the first day of the season.
I'm probably being harsh about Arteta, but I just think that
I don't think you are.
if Arsenal's going to go anywhere, we need to they need to sign. It needs to come from the manager. Like, you're not going to sign for someone that if, like, yes, I was delighted not to get into Europe. That was number one thing, because the year that Chelsea didn't get into Europe, they finished second in the league. But like Europa League, honestly, Thursday night football wrecks you.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody's won the league Thursday, Sunday.
For Arsenal, that's their only route to Champions League football.
But I think, honestly, that year Chelsea finished, was it 10th or 11th? Next season they went and finished second.
Second or third.
Because see, if you don't have that travelling through, or that, the biggest problem with Arsenal in the Europa League, and maybe it's Arteta's fault, is we go out, we go to Europe, we go to wherever we go, and he goes out with, you look at the team, and it's terrible. Then we're playing United on the Sunday, and he brings that whole team. Well, United have played Champions League football. It's the same team that started on Wednesday night is playing on Sunday. See this Arsenal chop and change all the time. Players don't know where they're going. They're like, one minute he doesn't even take Lacazette and Aubameyang to the game, and we win 3-0 with youngsters playing. Then we come home, the youngsters are put to the side, and the boys step in and get hammered on Sunday. Now, you need to be, like, they're professional. You need to be, yes, you need to freshen your squad up, but like, you shouldn't be making 9 changes from a Thursday to a Sunday. Yeah. And that's where I think hopefully will help us this season by playing just Premier League football and whatever cups we're in, and they play the youth ones in the League Cup. But I think with not having that Thursday travel, yes, it is a great way to go to the Champions League, but if you're going to do it, like, the bread and butter is your Premier League. You can't be thinking finishing 10th in it and then all of a sudden you're in the Champions League.
You really want the Super League to happen, don't you?
At the minute, yes. Sounds great again.
Gregory,
Or Teta. I can't see it.
you don't have like a second option, just straight out.
I got 2 and then a quiet third. Arteta, Hasenhüttl, and if things go wrong quickly, I don't think Everton gives Rafa the time to do anything.
That'd be great. If they could come to Arsenal now.
I think they have to give him time.
I don't think they will. I think if things go badly, if they have a bad 5 games, it's going to be really hard for him to recover.
I think it's such a bold statement. I don't think they have already lost 2 or 3 managers in the past couple of seasons. I think have to give him time, because
how did they do it the weekend?
They won 3-1 against Southampton, didn't they? They
Well,
need to give him time to try and build some kind of team or squad or whatever he's going to do. But I think it's that bold. It's that bold of a statement.
But who do
I think they need to support him. There's no point in putting him in such a big appointment and then sacking him after 2 weeks.
I think it is. I think Arteta is the first one. I don't see him making Christmas.
Who did they get in?
That's the question.
It's a change. They need even somebody that knows the club.
But there's no point. See, to be
Freddie
honest, Arsenal is
Ljungberg's
just
in the conversation for going back.
But Arsenal just do the cheapest way. They give City £2 million. They don't go offering big money. Like, that time Mourinho was available. Now I'm not a fan. I'm not a real fan of Mourinho, but
Conte.
he signs players.
Yeah.
He gets players in.
I'd be worried about Conte at Arsenal. Conte knows how to turn a club around.
But he's too hard work.
That
And the Arsenal, him and the Arsenal board would not get on.
But no one will get on with the Arsenal board, because everybody in the Arsenal board is just yes, yes, yes. No, you're not allowed to say anything. You have to be a yes man. No, that's sort of way. Bring Arteta in, he's going to say everything.
I honestly think Thierry Henry would do a fantastic job in Arsenal.
I
really do.
I don't think he's a great manager.
I don't think he has it, but no, it's alright bringing them in as assistant. It's alright bringing them in as assistant or something, because they love the club. A Dennis Bergkamp sort of role. They love the club and stuff like that. But you need someone that's going to do the job. Like there was Lundberg when Lundberg came in to cover it that there. The fans loved him and stuff like that there. But after 4 or 5 games,
they didn't love him.
They didn't love him.
I see, Henry's in a tricky situation because the managerial jobs he's taken, he's not done well in. And even when he went to America, he made a hash of that too. And now what is he, assistant to Martinez at Belgium?
Yeah.
I don't even think he's assistant. I think he's just like a attacking coach or something.
So he had all the potential to be a top manager. Like, Henry did this, did that. But I tend to agree with you, Richard. I just don't think he has it. And if you're watching, Thierry, I'm not against you. Like, it's just my personal opinion.
Come on the podcast.
And if you're watching, come back to Arsenal with Vieira.
Would you take Vieira?
So we'll go back to odds. Just so again, first is Arteta. Second is Vieira. Third is, how do you pronounce that? Watford manager.
Cisco Nunez or something, is
Yeah.
it?
Fourth is the Southampton manager. Fifth, Steve Bruce. Sixth is Bruno at Wolves. Seventh is the Norwich manager. Eighth, John Dice. And then Dean Smith. Raffles.
We're not far away with our educated guesses.
And I didn't look at that in case you think
I was going to say, you got the top two, didn't you?
I couldn't believe it when I looked at that, but I honestly just don't think, like,
I'm surprised Hasenhutl's not
no,
higher up.
Oh yeah.
no, I don't. I just think that Vieira's come into a club that's sort of like an oldish type of club. Maybe I'm getting this wrong, but Crystal Palace is
Aye,
like,
they're the oldest team in the Premier League
like-
last year.
everyone's done the same way. Like, no, if you look, no, Benteke still plays for them and stuff like that. There, it's just sort of like there's no real excitement.
They
about-
just chug along nicely, don't they?
No, there's no big excitement there. And if Vieira, like, they've beat first game, if he goes in a bad run, Crystal Palace fans will soon get her back. They'll be like, right, we need to get someone in.
Get Roy Hodgson back.
It wouldn't be him. It'd be like, honestly, it'd be like a Sam Allardyce comes into them. They're all about. They like an older type manager. No, that's what I don't mean that in a bad way, but they like someone's just going to come in and get the points. They're not caring about pretty football. Well, Vieira will want to come in there and try and play them like the Arsenal 1-2 touch football, which might not suit them. They don't have the players to play it. It's like Arteta's trying to play the way Man City has, and it's like it's not working.
Yeah.
No, we have to pass everyone out from the back. No, it's gone to the days where 1-0 to the Arsenal done and seal it up. No, it's you need a coach that's coming to play as the team are, and that's where I don't think Vieira has it. I could be wrong. Hopefully, I'm wrong. And I think Arteta's out of his depth. I think I really do.
I just think Vieira will find a formula to win games.
Yeah,
To keep
He could do,
to keep
yeah.
his job. But I just
I was really surprised when he took the job. I couldn't believe he got it.
it's a stepping stone for him. It's a chance for him to show what he's maybe capable of to move on to a bigger club.
But I think that moves.
Brentford.
I think sometimes moves like that can wreck them as well.
Yeah.
Time will tell.
I thought Lampard was the man for Crystal Palace. Not just saying that. I think is it again. Yes, Lampard's not old.
There's a question: would you take Lampard at Arsenal?
Probably not. But I think he has it in the Championship. I think he moved too quick from Derby to go to Chelsea. Yes, if you're a Chelsea through and through and someone offers you a Chelsea job, but I think if he had a good advisor or he had a spoke to what's Uncle Harry, probably would have said, don't go. You'll always, that job will, it'd be like Gerrard winning the league at Rangers and going straight to Liverpool now. Don't think he would have it.
I think the only person that may become available next year if Arsenal get rid of Arteta, which I think is more than likely going to happen, would be if Leicester have a bad season and Brendan Rodgers becomes available.
Good
And that's,
manager.
I think he's the only one really in and around that Premier League who has the know-how to make Arsenal better.
I think it's
Or
a
get
step down,
Arsenal
though.
back to... At the minute, yeah. At the minute it
Does
is.
he take a step down? What's Zidane doing these days? Is he just chilling?
If he looked into play as well, it's going to be some team. Zidane,
Vieira.
Vieira,
Henry.
up front.
Bring Arteta back.
Why are we even signing players?
Roy Keane.
Could they sort of like, we did have a roll on, roll off subs. These bikes might last. This could be like the Arsenal Masters, last like 20 minutes.
We've talked that much about Arsenal tonight with
Sure, no
doing,
wonder
Arsenal fan TV. Like.
The Turk are they're that bad. Honestly, we play Chelsea. I'm not joking. If we can keep it under 4,
I watched that overlap with Gary Neville and Roy Keane and Carragher, and that's what the back and forth was with the Arsenal.
I was thrilled, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was more that the reason why they were talking so bad about him is because of how much respect they had for him,
yeah.
for Arsenal, because of the humongous battles.
It's bad. I would tell you now that Arsenal's, if they don't get a decent performance on, is it Sunday they play Chelsea? Like, no.
I
It's
think
London,
it'll be-
London Derby. I know it's not the big London Derby, but it's still London Derby. Like, if you go out and get hammered by a Chelsea team, like, I mean, it could be 3 or 4-0 the way they play.
Did not play like City in there too, and
They-
or
they're
Spurs
honestly-
as well.
Is it, they play their first six games. I'd be surprised with 4 points.
You couldn't lose 2 London derbies in 2 weeks, could you? Brentford and Chelsea.
Could.
That's
It's not a week. We played them Friday night. The end of the next week. Sorry.
That's probably the main reason for me saying Arteta, because of the tough start that they have.
Yeah.
You win one of them 5 games, and that winning becomes a habit as well as losing.
Getting a rut.
And you just
Yeah.
moving on now to the surprise package of the season. Who do we think's going to do something out of the ordinary?
I think it could be Brentford, but like it's a total unknown. It would be a surprise to everybody if Brentford do come out and
What are you talking
finish
here?
like if they finish 13th. I think that's a surprise for everybody. 10th to 13th, if they finish anywhere in there, that's a big shock, I think.
When Arsenal get the lads back, winning
When Arsenal get Vieira back in midfield and finish top 4.
top 4, so nailed on.
Gregory?
I'm going to go for refereeing and VAR. I think the way the first week 1 has went, and how they've let things go, and having like minimal contact, it's not blown up straight away. It's a contact sport. I know it's a different than
This might suit Vieira coming back. He's not really a dude, he loves making contact. Like this is starting to look good for us. And I told you they were surprised, and you laughed. This will be a surprise.
No, just think in general. I think that the refereeing this year will be better, and I think it'll make for a better league because week 1 has been really good, and there hasn't been any minimal contact. As I'm saying, it hasn't been blown up straight away. It's contact.
I think the best surprise of all, Arsenal get beat by Chelsea this weekend. We're going to lockdown again and just finish the league. Great. That means we get an RU in the Premiership. Surprise.
I thought we weren't mentioning Arsenal again.
COVID them out.
We can't ask a question without mentioning Arsenal.
Do we?
I think Spurs will be a surprise package this season.
Surprise good or surprise bad?
Surprisingly good.
Surprisingly good.
I think selling of Harry Kane, if they get this whole thing kind of sorted, could really be the making of them.
Would you just sell him? Would you just get rid of him?
Yeah, I would just sell them.
I
think they do want to sell them, but the teams aren't meeting the evaluation of what the club want,
I think
which is fair enough.
I don't think Levy wants to sell him. I don't think he wants anyone to ever
Have him,
Harry
ever.
Kane apart from.
I think Spurs could. Well, I'm not going to say what they could do, but I think they would be better than what people think.
Because they'll do the same thing they did with Bale. They'll sell Kane and buy 35 players.
As
They're
you
all
said
rubbish.
earlier, you know,
35 players. Where are they coming? Newcastle League? 35 players.
They're going to sign you.
I'd love to wear a Spurs shirt. No.
Nuno's a good coach, he's a good manager, and I think he fits that kind of bill at Spurs.
Could be right, yeah. I
think
think
Spurs
Spurs will
will
do. I know it's hard to take, but I think they'll do alright. Like.
The only thing again, they've got the
Yikes.
Thursday night football at the minute in that Europa Conference, which nobody in the Premier League probably wants to be in. But
Yeah.
I think,
But the thing is, well, see, the only thing I would do if I was in it, I would go out with the young side and keep a squad for it. Like play it like the
League
League Cup. Because that's the thing, it does reg you that
What?
Thursday, Sunday.
What is that? Like, are there any half decent teams in that? Like,
They shoot some of the stadiums. There's a train runs around one of the stadiums.
is it like Hamburg or something?
It's not a stick. Honestly,
what does that mean?
it's terrace only has one stand. The train runs past.
It's just another money spinner for UEFA. Like.
Yeah.
But is Spurs like the big team in it?
They're favourites. They actually get them the trophy, really.
In the Audi Cup sitting there.
I think you had some of the Irish League teams are going to
Aye.
be going into a higher enough stage.
Right.
Maybe group stage.
They're out now. You know.
Right, they're all out. Yeah.
But
Maybe
they were close to getting into it. The team that beat Larne,
Larne, yeah.
playing Spurs tomorrow night. Who's your surprise package for the season, Rich?
There's a few. I think it's going to be one of them years that is going to be hard to predict. No, it is. Like, really and truthfully, yes, probably a lot of people would have said yes, Brentford will beat Arsenal the weekend, but I didn't fancy being at that comfortable. I know I'm an Arsenal fan, but I didn't think. Who would have thought Spurs would have turned over City? I think there's going to be a lot of surprises throughout the year. I think if you can get a run together, like a middle table team and get a run together, you know what it's like when you get a run together. It's hard to stop, but when you go on a losing run the Premiership, everybody is just wants to play. Leeds could be a surprise in a way that are they going to be as good as last year? Are they going to finish as high? Has teams worked them out? Now, I know that United
We have. Big time. 6-2 and 5-1.
but it's going to be interesting. Do you know what sort of way are they going to be as good? Brentford.
Question Stuart Dallas.
No, he's moved
Never.
to Arsenal.
Some Arsenal team.
I think Brentford, as Brian says, I think Brentford will. I think it'll be like, again, I'm referring to Windsor Park. I think the small stadium, 17,000. I think them cheering you on, there's going to be hardly, like, away teams are only going to like 500, maybe 1,000 tickets, so you're not even going to hear your away fans. I think they'll sing them, even if they're getting beat 2-0, I think they'll sing them the whole game. Do you know that sort of way? And it's so intimidating. Like, you get your Arsenal boys down there working in, thinking they're the best things in sliced bread, and then boys calling you everything under the sun and intimidating you. I think it's.
I used to be a top place to be.
I really do. I can see teams going down there like boys that's not expecting to get abuse, and either they'll turn it on and hammer them, or it'll go against them.
It's going to be one of those years with fans back where you don't want to go and play away. That'll be compared to last year where you didn't mind going away. It was just a neutral venue. Just go away. Like United last year unbeaten. That's not going to happen. You know, like I think going away.
It could add. It could.
I know. I'm being honest.
We're gonna be invincibles and win the quadruple. I don't know what you're talking about.
I think also is going to be an added pressure on people this year, players as well. No fans last year. They got away with blue murder. Do you know what sort of way? No one got on their back. No one booed you coming off the pitch.
Yeah.
There was no like some of them fans you go to away games. That's all you can hear. You know that sort of way.
Yeah.
I was at Ibrox last Tuesday night, like, and the fans got on Rangers back. They were 1-0 up. It was all going well, so well. Everyone was hunky dory. 10 minutes in the second half, they were 2-1 down. Yes, the fans were still cheering them on, but you could see the added pressure. You could see the boys were getting at each other because the fans were giving them a hard time.
That'll affect clubs like Newcastle.
Yeah, like if their fans kick off up there, like, no, it's hard to. They're booing you for 90 minutes.
But especially if there's unrest off the pitch and around that club, like some Newcastle.
West Ham hasn't been mentioned yet. Sure that their fans were going mental. They had a year outside of the stadium, no fans, had an unbelievable season.
I was impressed with them on Sunday. Tell you the truth.
I think they could be a bit of a surprise. Apart from the fact that they did well last year, I think they'll do surprisingly well again.
But then Lingard was very good for them, I thought, in the second half of the season last year.
Yeah. If they had sense about them, they'll sign Lingard, I think, for
Permanently
on a permanent deal.
Because he's just going to be wasted at the end of this year. He's not getting a sniff. He'll be worse. He'll get more minutes or less minutes than Van Beek.
He'll be our League Cup player.
I think Spurs would be the surprise package, but they need to sort the Kane situation out early because you've seen how much it affected United last year with the whole Sancho.
City were saying this, or
is what?
Do we think that just because they beat City last week, or is that a one-off because City were poor?
I think this is a Nuno thing too, because he could be.
That's why I said I would take him Arsenal. I'm surprised that Arsenal there was word of him, but there was no. I think they're near.
I think he would have suited Arsenal.
I think they're afraid to get rid of Arteta. I think they're when they get someone in, they're a funny club, so they are. They just don't seem to want to pay out. They would have probably had to pay too much money for him and not pay it.
No, I don't think. Not for me. It's because they beat City. It's because I think the manager's a good fit. I think everybody calling them pretty much a one-man team, will galvanise them more. To be like a better team, with or without Harry Kane. And I think like Son signing a new deal. If Kane goes or stays, he'll step up to the plate. Yeah. I think everybody writes him off really quickly because they're so dependent on Kane straight away. But if they do sell him, like the talks of 130 to 150 million, they've some dough to spend.
It's not going to be that much.
I think Son is as if more important player to Spurs.
Yeah, well, Son features in my last question.
Oh, there's the last question.
And that leads on nicely into who will your player of the season be?
Mine's Bruno. Easy.
I went for Son.
Vieira if he plays.
Varane.
Ooh.
I think he's going to have that just
the Van Dijk impact.
He's what Maguire should have been. I think Varane will be that player for United.
I think it's a really complementary partnership.
Yeah, I think that's going to lift United so close to the title. They're not going to win it, I don't think. Hopefully they do.
Brian, sort of
being a United
fan, being a football fan, you don't think your team's going to win the league, apart from Arsenal.
Come on, I win. I was
No, you're not.
Being a United fan, yes, I want them to win the league, but I just don't think they have that. I said it earlier, I don't think they have that midfield player yet. If they're going to go to 4-3-3 to be that middle player that has
That number 6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think. But Varane will be a World Cup winner. You know, I think
There's nothing he hasn't won.
Yeah.
Apart from the Newcastle
14
league.
finals, 14 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Was that right?
Yeah.
I think they'll win a trophy. I think they'll win something.
They need to, or
They have
Solskjaer's
to.
gone.
No, I
think.
the project. So the way Solskjaer's been going, I think it was the last 2 seasons. Although he hasn't won it.
I think the project's been working, but I
It's
think
working.
there's too much pressure for him not to win a trophy and not get signed.
Well, he's putting too much pressure on himself this year because he said it himself. They have to win something.
Mm-hmm.
Have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have to.
But from where they were,
It's alright,
4
Tom
seasons
Heaton's gonna sort
ago,
it.
from where they were whenever Solskjaer became interim manager to now is 90.
It is, but they need a trophy. Like.
FA
need
Cup,
a-
take the FA Cup.
They need to win a trophy as a group.
Yeah, I'd
Probably
take the
right.
FA Cup. I don't really care about the League Cup. I'll take the Champions League. Like, I'll take it.
Just you're laughing, but that's like.
Apart from the fact that PSG probably has that.
the
sewn
Champions
up.
League. Just take it. Like,
Take it.
there's a Wednesday there a couple of last week. Just walk down and take it. What about?
Who's your player of the season?
Probably Stuart Dallas.
Didn't see that coming, to be honest.
No,
I thought it was
Not
going to be. I
Stuart
thought it was
Dallas.
going to be Johnny Evans or Jamal Lewis.
no, Jamal. I don't think you said Jamal at all. I mean, he did Newcastle. Was he in the Newcastle squad on Sunday?
I don't know.
He
He's
was,
my
he
major or
was on
something.
the,
I
he was
don't
on the
know.
bench, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Have we got a
Second.
second answer?
After Dallas wins at Christmas. It probably will be Bruno. Sorry to say, like, but Jack was running close there, maybe, but nah. Probably will be Bruno or Ramsdale. He's staying for Arsenal. He
Ramsdale signed for Arsenal.
Hey, mate.
Odegaard now.
Hopefully he doesn't. That transfer doesn't go through.
Fax machine breaks.
Someone stand at the email at the English headquarters just deleting. No email.
No emails. What about Lukaku?
I think he'd
You
do
think
well
he's
for
gonna
Chelsea,
win
but I
it?
don't think he would be.
No, he'll not be player of the year because again, I don't think he does enough in the big games. I think he goes missing sometimes in the big games, and
Stuart Dallas will finish above him.
Fair.
he'd be that player. He'd be that player that will stand up to like the
Yes.
smaller, weaker defenders.
He disagrees
I'm
every
rolling.
day. Say leads to win the league. Yes. No. Come
I'm
on.
never agreeing to that one.
He'll probably be in around top scorer, but he'll probably be that player that doesn't feature in the big games, but will stand up to the weaker defences and roll them and lay balls off to Warner and stuff and score goals. But big games, top 6 teams, top 8 teams.
I can't wait. I cannot wait till May to we're discussing Arsenal win the league, and this is all I'm just going to talk about.
I'm not coming back on.
No, I cannot.
If Arsenal are anywhere
The
near the top
surprise
four,
package, the Gunners.
Yeah. That would actually be
37
a
league
good
games
idea.
unbeaten.
I'll revisit.
37 unbeaten. Ben White, player of the
Ben White,
season.
top goal scorer, 4 overhead kicks.
Leno, 36 clean sheets.
No, Ramsdale.
Ramsdale, sorry.
Odegaard, player of the season. Remember, and I just said wrote off. Vieira, Crystal Palace finishing second. It's certain to happen. Like,
It's gonna happen.
Well, that's it. That's the final question answered.
That's the season sorted. No
That's
point
the
in
season
watching
done.
anymore.
Yeah. There you go, folks. That's our season predictions. Plenty of laughs, plenty of opinions, plenty of crack,
Bloody Arsenal.
Plenty of
plenty of
Arsenal.
Arsenal. We're going to do an Arsenal podcast on itself at Christmas time. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Give us your opinion. Are we right? Do you think we're wrong? Do you think we're right? Whatever. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. With loads of stuff coming up over the next couple of weeks. That'll be very interesting, and you all want to see it. But for now, keep an eye on our predictions for the next couple of weeks. Keep watching our videos, and we'll see you all soon.